We next have a presentation from our new Executive Director, Dr. Jorge Brenner, to give us an update on the status of the GCOOS organization.
Thank you so much, Joe. I'm trying to share my screen right now and be able to put that in presentation mode.
There we go.
Can you see it? Well, thank you. Well, again, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm super happy to be in my first Board of Directors meeting and be able to provide the team update, the GCOOS progress update. And please mean that taking into account that I've only been 2 months into the job, and most of the things that I'm going to be mentioning today, I'm just going to be the speaker. And this is the work of a team effort and also the leadership of Barb for 2/3 of the time that I've been here. So I'm trying to do just an honor to what I've been learning from my team and the things that I've been able to help them on. So let's start just by reminding us, everyone, of what is the GCOOS mission. Our mission is really to provide on-demand information about the Gulf waters, that it's accurate and reliable, and I will say also timely, and that benefits people and ecosystems and our economies. So we're vested into all things of the Gulf of Mexico, and we're one of the members of the 11 regional associations, as Josie presented that to us in her presentation. So what is that we really do? Well, basically, GCOOS manages a series of sensors with an extensive network of partners that we call coastal and ocean intelligence. This intelligence really spans from the estuary's head of the estuary all the way to the offshore waters of the Gulf of Mexico. So we do have a network of sensors that really try to cover the entire span of the Gulf of Mexico to be able to enable decision making for communities of all kinds, to transform them in the way they make decisions. So governments, industry, to local communities as well. We do that also by understanding that we can provide solutions in 4 main focus areas that come from our strategic plan. These are marine operations, coastal hazards, health ecosystems, and living marine resources, and human health and safety. How do we do that? Well, this is an important thing for me to share with you. I came to GCOOS learning that we have a huge human capital that we try to leverage regional partnerships from federal to state to academic to industry and to non-for-profit organizations around the Gulf of Mexico and beyond. Basically, our board of directors and the staff work together with the IUS Ocean Program in Maryland, and also our hosting institution in Texas A&M University and the Department of Oceanography, to understand stakeholder priorities and science and technology partners to make those solutions possible. I won't be able to introduce the entire staff today due to in the interest of time in the agenda, but I'll be able to talk a little bit about the work that they're doing. We have scientists, data managers, project managers, communicators, and advisors that help us make this work possible. I'll start the update by mentioning our new board members and changes in the board. As mentioned before, and for those of you who joined early in the conversation, Dr. Kate Hobart is our new board member from Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. She leads the harmful alga blooms program, and since 2020 has been the director of the Center for Red Tide Research in Florida. We'll also say goodbye to 2 board members, Mike Lee, Coastal Science Coordinator with the U.S. Geological Survey. His term lapsed a few months ago. And Steve Bishang with Texas General Land Office, who we wish him well in his new professional work with Bessie. The staff updates. Well, we've all heard about how much we'll celebrate today as well. Dr. Barbara Kilpatrick, who is retiring basically from the executive director position, but she's staying with us as a senior advisor and helping me through the transition, and also continue to be our HABS lead throughout the foreseeable future. Also, Dr. Chuan Yuan Xu has been recently promoted from a postdoc to associate research scientist. He's one of our modelers and data scientists working also with the Earth observers. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Robbie Alves, a PhD candidate, defending his dissertation at the Oceanography Department of Texas A&M. He has been a graduate research assistant sponsored by GCOOS and defending his dissertation on October 21st. We wish him well as well. And also, it's sad for me to share that Dr. Shin Kobara, a long-term GIS product developer with GCOS for many years, is moving on to a new position with the private industry. On the update for our funding, Carl and Josie both provide us an outlook at how that funding is looking. So I'm happy to share that in late August, as soon as I joined GCOOS, a few days after we received the final awards on the award for GCOOS for FY22 for $4.3 million, and that, although that amount represents a slightly increase in total amount from last year, really our core funding was level funded for the funding that GCOOS has available to continue supporting additional partners. Our budget scope has been submitted to NOAA's Grants Management Division in October. We've completed that, including the 13 sub-awards that GCOOS will be able to support this year for 12 different institutions. Those are 77% academic institutions, 8% in industry, 15% NGO organizations. We hope and anticipate that those awards will be available in November to our members. And then we continue to work on hurricane supplemental funds. They've been estimated and requested, and working with the IUS program also in that matter. This is a breakout of those 13 sub-awards that we're able to include in the funding this year by asset type. Again, I'm happy to share that more than 75% of the support this year continues to go to our core observations and infrastructure and data that we provide in terms of moorings and stations, high frequency radars and gliders. And the other 25%, it's we receive funding that it's allowing us to expand and continue expanding our observations and infrastructure in terms of imaging flow, site vaults, and nutrient sensors with EPA as well this year. On the data portal of GCOOS, a central and core portion of what we do, managed by Filimon Gallanillo. He's our co-data management manager at Texas A&M University. He works with Marion Stossel and Dr. Chuan Yuan and many others also in maintaining our core observations for fixed stations, the moorings, but also other type of observations. This type of infrastructure basically covers our meteorological and ocean observations. We have 55 data providers, 420 different individual stations in the Gulf of Mexico right now, more than 1,000 sensors managed by this network. And I'm happy also to share that Filimon informed me that the way we process this data has been streamlined with the time, every time doing it quicker and more efficient, working with also many other fellows at NOAA to do this process. And we process more than 220 individual multidimensional time series files every 30 minutes, published in the Earth Observers at NOAA. And that's where the data can be accessed. So basically, GCOOS managed multiple Earth Observers for historical collections. We've done over the past months and years a huge effort in bringing historical data to be digital and accessible to EarthUp. Also biological data, we mentioned before, presentations about the Marine Biodiversity Observation Network, work and projects, near real-time Earth Observers, and the Gulf Hub Earth Observer, which is Gulf Hub. It's a project that many of you are involved, and it's funded by the National Academy of Science and the Gulf of Mexico program. Also continuing the data portal and with Felimon's work, he's technical responsible for maintaining the portal alive, and he has done some enhancements recently to the portal. Now you can go ahead to click in any of these stations in the map, and you will be getting the latest observations for each of these locations in your pointer as well. The whole data platform is in the process of being updated and migrated to a new operating system, and that's hopefully going to be completed pretty soon. And also, Filimon informed me that we were able to include 2 more additional organizations partnering with us in collecting meteorological and ocean scorings and other ocean sensors data, and these are Oxy and Equinor in the Gulf of Mexico. Filimon continues to maintain our servers, work on them, update them, and we are right now developing and setting up a new alternate server for the data portal in itself. Marion Stossel, in addition to producing the EarthUp or the EarthUp files that we provide to the communities and that constitute an input for the many models that use them, Marion is an essential part of that process because she has spent the last several months making sure that these data sets are correct, are organized, and they fulfill the quality control and criteria needed. So she has been working on a project with BOEM on air quality data, a big part of the GridC project that many of us have been also working for the latest years and getting to an end in this year. And also with the Marine Biodiversity Observation Network, bringing to life again a long-term data series in coral for coral reefs around the Gulf of Mexico and the Southeast as well. On the harmful algal bloom side, we talk about this Barb Kirkpatrick being an incredible leader for many GCOOS and beyond for so many years, and working with developing so many communities for really exciting projects. One of those, for example, is the every beach, every day forecast. This is a respiratory forecast that I'm happy also to share that in August this year, replace the NOAA respiratory forecast, and it's GCOOS now that it's responsible now to provide this service to the communities. And we know that communities use them. We've been taking into a look as a team also how relevant this product is becoming especially during the summertime in Florida. But now we know that perhaps it's almost a year-round process happening affecting Florida and other places. This respiratory forecast website right now has, in the last 6 months, more than 200 visits, 100,000 visits for the site. This project also gets the data from HAPSCOPE. HAPSCOPE, it's a project in which Craig and Bob Courier, Grant is our program manager and volunteer coordinator, and Bob is our other co-data manager at GCOOS and product developer, have developed this amazing project mixing hardware, latest hardware and software and technology such as machine learning to develop the forecast to respiratory potential implications as well. So Grant maintains a network of at least 43 volunteers across the Florida, including the more recently the Panhandle area. And Bob has developed and put together the hardware and the software to develop HAPSCOPE machine learning algorithm to predict Karenia brevis, which is the species responsible for red tide in the state. But HAPSCOPE 2.0, which is on beta testing right now, it's going to be able to actually work with 3 different tags, and not just one, but 3 different tags across different HAPs in Florida and across the Gulf of Mexico. So we're looking forward for that. And I mentioned before also another portion of our funding this year being the expansion of other type of sensors and observations. So the imaging flow cytobots, which GCOOS has already been supporting across in some places in the Gulf of Mexico. Now we're able to expand it with this additional funding in Dauphin Island Sea Lab in Alabama with a couple of those devices, thanks to Senator Richard Shelby for that funding. And also Barb has been instrumental and will continue to help with the National Hab Observation Network that Josie was mentioning before. And that's also an exciting work to be able to contribute to other regional associations and other geographies with this body of work. I'll continue with Bob. I mentioned that he's our co-data manager at GCOOS. He specializes in very complex developments that requires very complex coding, and he specializes in visualizations and tools that require mashing up many different type of data sets. I'll start by mentioning Gandalf. Many of you know that one of our core observations is the gliders, and Gandalf is that automatic autonomous underwater vehicle piloting portal that Bob continues to enhance almost on a weekly basis. He has spent this hurricane season, basically the summer and early fall, in adding multiple functionalities, and again, coming up to a very nice new record for GCOOS with having 11 active deployments of underwater gliders and other type of underwater vehicles as well. More recently, Bob is adding options for groups and to work on Gandalf and having some privacy settings. And eventually, he's also working on developing the flight dashboard for the pilots with the telemetry data of the devices in itself being added also to Gandalf. On the hub side, Bob supports mostly all of these projects, including the hub scope that I mentioned before, that it's going to be ready it's now being tested for at least 3 taxa. The hub forecast, respiratory forecast mentioned before as well, that also in the past couple of months we were able to translate it to Spanish and provide that to the Spanish speaking community in Florida as well. And I know Grant and Bob and the entire team are also looking forward to hopefully expand our work on HAB forecast to other states and places in the Gulf of Mexico. A similar a related project is HALO, which is a different type of autonomous vehicle. This is a surface vehicle with a sail, so it's called the Vela Autonomous Sailing Vessel. It's providing real-time and continuous data in Lake Okeechobee ecosystem continuously for the past several months. And it's a work done in partnership with Florida Atlantic University and Bob and Barb. Two other core observations and infrastructure of GCOOS and IUS, the high-frequency radars and gliders that we mentioned before. They are having exciting developments over the hurricane season and the summer. And I'll let Dr. Kerry Walden, who is our oceanographer at Texas A&M University, and Nick Lynch, the national coordinator for the underwater glider user group. They're going to be able to present us after my presentation extensively about the latest developments and what we've been doing for the past couple of months. But I'll tell you and I'll give you in advance that it's a really exciting work that they developed. On the outreach and education work of GCOOS, it has been developed and led by Dr. Chris Monello for many years. She just mentioned also at the beginning of this meeting that she's been with GCOOS since GCOOS was incorporated and established. So it's not a surprise that Chris has it's a participant and a team player and an advisor for many different working groups across the entire Gulf of Mexico. And so some of the things that she has been working for the past few months, it's continue working and supporting the Gulf of Mexico Alliance, citizen science trainings and opportunities, for example, with the Paddle the Gulf work group, with the NOAA Gulf of Mexico Regional Collaboration Team. They recently developed a new normal video, which is a visual video product that informs people how data supports understanding storms and how people can use that to become more resilient and knowledgeable about potential impacts caused by the storms. So actually, this has been so successful that we're working on a second video that hopefully will be really soon as well. Chris, again, because of her long tenure and collaboration with IUS Association, has been extensively for many years. She also has just recently completed a multi-year project with the Shell Stones Ocean Observatory funded by Shell, and in collaboration with GCOOS. It's a successful project that allows us to understand the deeper parts or the additional aspects of the Gulf of Mexico in different deep layers. And Chris developed this project and product for STEM educators and developing lessons and even providing monetary awards to some of these working groups, schools across the Gulf of Mexico. Another exciting project is that just recently Florida Sea Grant and GCOOS published a Florida Red Tide Communication Strategic Plan, it's now the work plan and the roadmap for everybody working on red tide in the state to look into convey common message and relevant messages about this what is now turning into a chronic issue in Florida. Chris continues to work with the National Academies Gulf of Mexico program and the Marine Biodiversity Observation Network projects that we have. Jennifer Brinland Dawson, our research scientist and also a GCAN coordinator. GCAN is the Gulf of Mexico Coastal Acidification Network that GCOOS hosts. It's a true federated and distributed network across the Gulf of Mexico and also beyond, that it's trying to understand how the impacts and what is that we can do to inform people and have people become again more knowledgeable about this particular threat. So over the past several months, the activities that the GCAN working group has developed with the leadership of Jen, but also Dr. Kim Yates, this chair of the scientific steering committee of the project. They've developed several proposals to try to maintain funding for these projects, providing webinars and workshop opportunities. And one of those I want to mention specifically, the working group has plans for next year meeting in Mexico and bringing Mexico and Cuba partners, our geographic partners in the Gulf of Mexico, into the work of understanding together ocean acidification and in this international summit. And another GCOOS support to GCAN as well has been to develop this GeoMap, the ocean data and reference map, in which we're not only putting bibliography available for the Gulf of Mexico and relevant to understanding OA, but also to map it and have people understand the spatial characteristics of ocean acidification. I'll just mention a few words, some of the most relevant statistics about our website. GCOOS, as many organizations, provide information in context through our gcos.org web portal. We do many other communications activities, such as our e-newsletter that all of you should receive every month, in addition to additional target communications. We continue to see this e-newsletter and this communication strategy going in the right direction. Our open rate stays at 35%, continues to grow a little bit, but most important, it's compared to other sectors benchmarks, for example, governmental similar products or non-for-profit similar products or like newsletters, our opening rate continues to be in the right direction. Our social media, for example, if we just take Facebook as one of those, has continued to grow in the past couple of years. And that spike that we see in July, early August of this year, also representative of the several things that GCOOS has been publishing. For example, that translation of the HABS respiratory forecast in July and August that translated into Spanish, and then also a few other activities that happen. But most important, I wanted to show you that our GCOOS website has 17,000 page views during this 6-month period of time. But our data side of the website during the same period has 23,000 page views during the same period. So this really tells us that people keep coming to GCOOS for information, for that data and into context, but also to look into what our mission tells us to do, which is providing the data. So people keep coming to our data portal and looking for the data. And we will continue looking into serving those communities in the best way that we can, and more specific processes. I just want to mention that it's of the interest of the GCOOS board and us to keep looking into having an in-person meeting in the spring next year in New Orleans. This is something that it will be bring a lot of joy to everyone to be able to meet in person and be able to have these conversations in person and expand them. And typically GCOOS spring meeting happens between April and May. So hopefully we will give you the good news that GCOOS is meeting in person over next year. I'll finish just by providing again a special thanks to Dr. Barbara Kirkpatrick, who for the many contributions that she has done to GCOOS. That's why I came to GCOOS, because I was inspired by the team that she led. She's been a great mentor and in my transition during my 2 months, and hopefully that'll continue. She's a tireless scientist and true seeker, and most important, a friend that I want to thank you today as well. But I also want to thank you, all of you, our data and product and communications partners, all of those collaborators that make the GCOOS work possible, and all of those communities and sectors that trust us in providing them with the best data possible. I just want to also mention that our thoughts are with those that are collaborators that we will not able to fund this year because our core funding was level funding. We keep hoping, and we hope that we can continue working together in these lands. And last but not least, our also thoughts are with those communities that were affected by the multiple storms and events happening in the Gulf of Mexico this year. And with this, I'll end. Thank you.
Jorge, you can take a breath now.
Yes.
That's a great review of the GCOOS activities, and especially the contributions of the staff. When I got to be board chair, I've received an invitation, a bi-weekly invitation to attend their virtual staff meetings. And after the first meeting, I thought to myself, well, this is going to go on for 2 years. But as time went on and I got to know the staff, albeit virtually, and really better understand what they're doing, I look forward to the meetings because I'm constantly amazed at how innovative they are and how product delivery oriented they are. They work well as a team. They help each other out, and they listen to and react and respond and provide what the user community really wants. And I just am totally impressed by Jorge and Jorge's staff, Barb's staff. You all do a great job. You should really give yourselves a lot of credit because you're getting a lot done. And I just really, really can't say enough. Speaking of that, I think we've heard enough for a while. We're now scheduled for a 15-minute break. So I would propose that we cut it just a couple minutes short and meet 10 minutes past the hour, regardless of what your time zone is. So let's give ourselves about a 12-minute break and we'll reconvene. We'll see if anybody new has joined the meeting that has not introduced themselves, and then get into discussions on the collider activities in and around the Gulf of Mexico. So let's reconvene in 12 minutes and we'll call time out.